Hey guys, it's Tim Shermack, and welcome back to another episode of the Platform Marketing Show. I'm joined here today by Kayla Adamson, who's on the East Coast of Florida. Kayla, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So Kayla's been an agent now for 10 years, sold 20 million last year by herself, doesn't have a big team or anything. That's 20 million of her own production. Her goal for this year was to get to 25 million, and she's on pace currently to hit that goal. And she's got a lot of other stuff going on, which we'll get to later in this conversation. But Kayla, first off, welcome to the show. I think we originally met in an elevator at the Girls with Grit conference.
Yes, we did. You have a great memory.
So I think we may have said hi, and that's about it. And
I
I,
think that's
I,
it.
I think I just recognized your face because you were speaking at that event that year, and I was like, "Hey, are you Kayla?" And you're like, "Are you Tim?" And we're like, "Well, bye," because you were headed off to some event that I wasn't allowed in because I'm a guy.
Oh,
So
goodness.
um, I think that's the extent of the communication we've had. We have a bunch of Facebook friends, mutual friends in common. And I know that you spoke at that event. You shared some really cool stuff that you're doing with live events and how to get
Mhm.
involved in your community to grow your business. So, why don't we go and rewind here? Let's kind of look back at the last 10 years. And I want to just ask you a question, and I'll let you take this wherever you want to take it.
Okay,
But
perfect.
you're selling 20 million a year
hmm
now by yourself. You don't have some big team. I mean, that puts you in the top 1% of realtors across the country if you're selling 20 million in individual, personal sales volume. What are the marketing strategies that worked to get you to that point? Because I will start this conversation by making it very clear. This is one of those exceptions where we're not interviewing an agent who's currently working with the platform program. So Kayla is not currently a client of platform marketing, but I think she's doing such interesting things in her business and interesting local marketing initiatives that I wanted to have her on to share all these things that she's doing because I find it fascinating what you've been doing. So why don't you first start by sharing, Kayla, how you got into real estate? What was that journey like? Like what were you doing before real estate, and then you can transition into what got you to the point where you're now selling 20 million as an individual. So I'll let you take that question wherever you want to take it.
Perfect. Again, thank you so much for having me on here. I am so impressed with platform in general, and it is an honor. As you stated, I've been in real estate for 10 years now. Prior to real estate, a decade ago, I was a deputy sheriff with my county's local sheriff's department. Very, very fun career. I absolutely loved it. However, my husband was also in the public safety arena as a firefighter. And after we got married, we wanted to start having kids, like most married people do. So I wanted a safer job and I wanted a job that made more money. And back then, I thought I could make more money in less time in real estate. So I walked in and put in my 2 weeks and became a realtor in literally like 4 days. I powered through the course super fast online and took my state exam as fast as I possibly could. And it's been an uphill climb since then. My very first year, I passed my deputy sheriff income. So I felt like it was a sign from God that I was doing what I should be doing. And the next year I doubled it, and the year after that I tripled it, and it has
And is
just
it is
continued to
it
grow.
is it common for a deputy sheriffs to get pay raises where they double or triple their income every year?
No, no. So real estate has honestly completely changed our lives. Police officers, firefighters, public safety, they do not get paid well at all. When I left, I was making just over $15 an hour as a police officer, literally fighting people, making $15 an hour.
Wow.
It's sad. I am a huge, huge police officer advocate, back the blue, but what they make is offensive. I think they should all get a pay raise. I think I make too much compared to what police officers make, honestly. They should be making what I'm making. But just that income and less
Yeah.
stress. Real estate is stressful, but it's a different kind of stressful, if you know what I mean.
But no one's shooting at you in real
Exactly.
estate.
Exactly. Or biting you or spitting on you. All those things happen as well. I literally got snot rocketed on once as a police officer. How disgusting is that?
Like someone did that intentionally?
Oh, yes. because they were
Wow,
getting arrested, and that's what I got before the handcuffs got put on. A snot rocket on me.
that's fun.
Prepared me for motherhood. So, there's a lesson in everything that happens. But back to real estate, once I tasted the income, I was like, I'm doing this forever. But then my very first closing was a family that I helped when I was a police officer. And then every few clients were people I met when I was a police officer. So both of the careers kind of intertwined, and I started becoming really close friends with my clients. And I started to realize, even though this can be a lucrative career, you can actually meet and create lifelong relationships with buyers and sellers through the course of helping them with real estate. And those connections plus the income, I will do this forever now. Like, I am in this for life. Even though I
Yeah.
have a few other avenues I'm working on through like other real estate related businesses, real estate will always be my main pillar.
So you said that you ended up, helping some people buy and sell homes that you knew through police work. Was it like, hey, I think you pulled me over for speeding once. Will you sell my home? Or who were the people? How did you get connected? That
So, fun story. My one of my very first closings was a family that actually called the police because their teenage daughter was getting bullied at school. And of course, we can't do much with bullying unless it gets physical. However, I kind of took their daughter under my wing. I saw a lot of myself in her, helped her build confidence, and I think if you're getting bullied and no one is going to help you, you need to stop it yourself in some way. So like I just really motivated her to stand firm in her own identity and stand up to the bullies herself, and kind of was like, I got your back, girl. If anything happens, I'll make sure I'm the one that responds. You're not going to get in trouble. But she stood up to those bullies. And then it's so funny, that
you're like,
family,
if a you physically retaliate, I will provide cover fire.
yeah,
Like,
it's going to go under the
I got
radar.
you.
Yes, absolutely. And we just stayed in contact. I loved their daughter so much. And when I became a realtor, they needed to sell their house. And of course, I use social media as my CRM. So I was already
Sure,
friends with them on social
sure.
media. They saw that I became a realtor. I let the whole world know I was a realtor. So I was the first person they called. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. And that just goes back to something. It's a very common theme of the most successful agents in the platform, is that if you apply advertising and social media marketing to a life where you're already plugged into your community, then really cool things can happen. But if you're not active in the community, you're not plugged in, and you don't know anyone, you don't whatever go to church, you're not involved in a local charity or your kid's school or chamber of commerce or whatever, right? Whatever being plugged in to the community looks like for you, right? If you're not doing some of those things and you just think, hey, I'm going to spend a bunch of money on social media, it's probably not going to work for you.
No. Mm-mm. It's
You
absolutely
have
not
to.
going to work for you. And it goes in line with not being a secret agent. And I know a lot of us like to be modest, but I'm the best agent in the room. And I think all agents need to have that mindset where I'm the best agent in the room. Like, raise your hand if you think you're the best. And the majority of top agents will be like, I'm the best. They will truly believe that and they'll know that. On social media, you have to portray that. You can't be a secret agent. You're going to want your audience, your community, the buyers and sellers out there to think that you know that you're the best that there is, because they don't want to hire an agent that thinks they're the best. They want to hire an agent that knows they're the best. And you can translate that through your post on social media. And even if you can't afford paid ads right now, or if your market is taken for flat platform, you can make posts yourself and really just try to elevate yourself in other ways until those other doors can open for you.
So you got going by kind of leveraging some of the connections and people in your life through your previous career in law enforcement. But I would imagine that necessarily alone didn't get you to 20 million. Like, what were some of the marketing strategies or things you started testing along the way that like really started to accelerate things?
Yeah, absolutely. I got licensed at the very end of 2015. I had my first baby in 2017 and my second in 2020. But in 2017, I started taking my baby to all these mom dates. You know, they're usually free, they're over coffee or you're walking. And I started to get a lot of clients from just cultivating that genuine relationship with other moms. So I decided to start putting on events for moms and young families in the area because that was the season of life I was in. And it got to where I was doing an event every quarter. And then I started doing an event every other month. And now I do events every single month because all of my business is 100% organic. It's past clients, sphere of influence, or social media. I don't pay for social media ads. Hopefully soon I can start. I'm actually banned from my ad account, but I think, Tim, you're going to help me with that. We're going to figure out why that's happening.
It's even more impressive that you've scaled your business to where it's at now, where you've, last year sold 20 million. This year you're on pace to actually hit 25 million as an individual agent. And all of that is coming through just organic social media and like being involved in your community and hosting these kind of like curated events. But all that growth came before you added advertising, like paid advertising to the mix. I mean, that is really, really impressive. That means you're doing it the right way.
Thank you so much. There is power in being a connector and community builder. And even if you're an introvert, because believe me, I was. So part of leaving law enforcement was because I started to become really jaded and I started thinking not everyone was a criminal, but like everyone was out to get each other. You know, I saw the bad side of people every single day and I started to recluse, whatever that word is. And
Yeah.
I didn't trust anybody. I thought everybody was crazy and everyone had an agenda. And even when I left law enforcement, like there was no way I was door knocking on strangers' doors. It just was not going to happen for me. So it took a little bit of time for me to get out of my shell. And believe me, going to events or even hosting events as an introvert, it's almost like you're going to have a panic attack. But the more you do it, you can train your body to do anything. It's just like when someone's training for a marathon. Someone who's never worked out a day in their life or been a runner could start training right now and in 60 days run a marathon. Like that's how amazing our bodies are and how we can train our mind. So the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it and just power through it. And I would start with like a small event and then slowly like invite more people, make it open instead of just your neighborhood to your whole community. My spring events now, which is basically like an Easter egg hunt, but we call it a spring fest to be super inclusive. Thousands of people come to it every single year now. But this will be the fifth year that it happens. So it takes time. The first year, like 75 people came. So it doesn't happen overnight. It definitely takes consistency. But once you pour into it, you're going to be rewarded for it.
So my follow-up question on that is like, could you share more specific examples of what some of the events that you've hosted are?
Yeah.
Because clearly it's not like you got to 20 million by just, hey, I hosted this one event once a year. I'm sure you've tried a bunch of different events. You've had some bigger ones, or you mentioned hundreds of people are coming. You've had some smaller ones where you're doing stuff with even like 5 or 10 ladies. What are some of the different events you've tried, and how did they work, and how did you promote them and get people showing up to these events?
Absolutely. I actually recommend to have event pillars. So I have private events that are for my past clients only and sphere of influence. So, like my close family and friends. Then I have public events that are open to everyone. And I create a full blown business plan for my events. So, throughout the year, I know the exact target markets I want to target. So, for example, if you farm a neighborhood, one of your pillars would be events for that farmed neighborhood, if that makes sense. So, one, know what pillars you want for your events to target. And two, always add in, and this is so fun, but I always make sure I have events for just parents to go to without kids, and then also family friendly events too. I do both because when parents are watching their kids are crazy. They're all over the place. You're trying to keep them alive the whole time you're anywhere, even at events. and parents'
Right. Right.
business brains aren't turned on when they're chasing their kids all over your event. So, but once they're on your newsletter and you're inviting them to all these events, they go to your family ones first because those are the easy ticket items to get people to go to. Then you can have some date night events, maybe at Top
Right.
Golf, where people in the community can get to know each other. Or if you have like a very niche little, say your church, you can have parents' night out for just the people at your church. You can make it very strategic and targeted for certain areas that you want that are already part of your business. I was already in the mom group space, so I tailored my events to mom groups or parents' nights out. They what's that term where people don't have kids? Like double income, no kids.
Uh, Dinks. Yep.
Yeah, so
Yep.
like Dinks, you could do something that's not involved with mom groups at all. It could be all about parents and it could be guys' night out and ladies' night on the same night. So both spouses have something fun to go do. And then it could be like board games back at someone's house afterwards. You could make it
Which like
very strategic.
which makes me think, we have a daughter, Rose, who's like almost 2.5 now. And the last 2.5 years have just felt like an eternity, right? Because
Yes.
if you're a first time parent, every new day, it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I like think back to what it was like building our business, growing our business before we had Rose. And it's like, what did I do with all my time? I'm like,
Right.
how was I not so much more efficient? Because now
Yes.
when you become a parent, because this is all still somewhat new to me, being Rose
Mm-hmm.
as young as she is, um, you know, in a way, I almost think becoming a dad is like the ultimate time management hack,
Oh yeah.
because it just forces you to get really clear on what are the most important things I'm going to do today, because you can't have
Mm-hmm.
fluff in your schedule, or else
No.
stuff just won't get done. But so I envy all the dual income, no kid couples out there, but also I don't envy them, because being a dad is awesome. But
Yes.
uh
Both sides. I'm with you. It's a pendulum.
so how uh what would be some examples of like recent events that, let's say, you've done just in the last like year, the in 2024 or 2025?
Absolutely. So I did a big Galentine's Day event on Galentine's Day, and I actually sold tickets to it. Once you become known for your events, they don't have to be free anymore. You can sell tickets on Eventbrite to recoup some of that cost, and then also get vendor partners like a lender or title company to help cover expenses. But we had a great Galentine's Day event. It was a huge success. It sold out within hours after I posted it.
Now, for those who aren't super bougie, what is Galentine's Day, and what was that event?
Galentine's Day is very close to Valentine's, and it could be a night out or day out for just your girlfriends, your besties, sisters having fun. We did it at a swanky wine bar in Cocoa Beach, which is like our little fun downtown area. And I had luxury swag bags. Anyone with a VIP ticket got a Marc Jacobs purse, a real one, not a fake one. So super fancy and super fun, but you can also do really low key events. You could do, I've done at least three of these this year so far, is just a brunch at a nice restaurant and everybody pays for themselves. And you conversate and cultivate a genuine relationship. The same people will start coming to your events because once they get comfortable, they always want to be there. People
Yeah.
start creating lifelong relationships with each other after it starts being several years. I did another powerful move with events is if you notice anything trending online, try to pair an event with it. This year I saw that It Ends With Us all over social media. So I rented out our local movie theater for the very first showing of It Ends With Us, and I sold half
Okay.
price tickets.
Now I have to ask you, what's the name of the guy um who was the actor in It Ends With Us? What was his name again?
His real name is Justin Baldini.
Justin. Okay. Are you team Blake or team Justin? We need
I'm
to get
team Justin.
Okay.
Don't
Okay.
cancel me if some of you girls are like obsessed with Blake Lively.
No, this was a huge point of discussion on a recent platform team call, and I think 100% of our team is team Justin. And my wife
Woo!
probably has spent. I'm not exaggerating. Like, I'm literally being. I think my wife has watched at least 40 or 50 hours of like podcasts and YouTube videos, and
About
she's
it.
like, yeah, like paid to like subscribe to journalists who are doing this like investigative research to, find out every, last bit
Mm-hmm.
of information on it. And so she shares updates with me almost daily.
I love it.
And so we've actually been asking that on recent interviews of people that we hire for platform. Are you team Blake or team Justin, and justify your answer. And it's kind of interesting what people
Yeah,
say
I'm
anyways. So
so much Team Justin, especially with a law enforcement background. I can see the manipulation, the gaslighting. I don't want to
yeah.
say it, but one side is a narcissist. Like it is so clear. So clear.
So the only thing I'll say before we attempt to get this conversation back on track is that uh my wife told me that apparently Blake had like her people edit a version of that of the movie, and they did like a split test essentially where they showed it to a test audience and then showed Justin's production company's version of the movie, and like Justin's version got way higher ratings, like everyone liked that one better.
So she
But
was
Blake
butthurt.
Yeah, but Blake like refused to let that one go to theaters, and she put it in her contract that no, we're going to use my edit of it, even though it like objectively had lower audience scores than the original one that Justin. So basically, the one that you saw in theaters was Blake's edit, and then Justin's edit was not allowed to get released. Um, by the way, this is hilarious. For anyone who's listening, this is normally not what we talk about on the platform marketing show, but this is important current events that we need to
It is
cover. So,
important and it circles back to as a realtor, if you see anything trending online, and I don't mean those trendy reels that people jump on, but like maximize your conversion on the trend with an event or a face to camera video that you post. Not like a dancing reel that you do, because that's not going to convert anything, but like some other way to take advantage of that trend and create an event around it. The movie theater sold out. It was super fun. I got custom popcorn bags with my real estate logo and Instagram on it. It was a
oh, cool.
huge hit. So it's worth getting in the mix of the drama. People love drama, and you can convert some clients in the middle of that drama.
Yeah, one of our clients' all time favorite a platform masterminds that we did actually. We rented out a movie theater in Naples and had our mastermind at the movie theater. So every speaker got to speak in front of the giant screen, and that was their slide deck behind them was the giant movie theater
Oh,
screen.
that's
And
fun.
obviously we passed out popcorn during the breaks, and we had like the platform logo on all the on all the popcorn bags. It was kind of a fun experience. Like I would totally go back and do it there every year, but unfortunately, platform has grown so much now that
Oh, you
there's
won't
no
fit.
movie theater. Yeah, well, there's no movie theater that has enough seats for the amount of people we have coming to our mastermind every year, which is honestly kind of a bummer because I really liked having it there. But
Well,
anyway,
that's a
so
good thing though.
you
So,
did you did
movie night,
yep.
Galentine's. I do community workouts that are completely free for the community to come, and everybody just works out together. You can do walks if you're not really into working out. Beach walks are great. I do monthly content days for entrepreneurs in my area where we all meet and we have a photographer come and take like 5 headshots of us. But more importantly, we all help each other make reels for our business pages in all different industries. So this is really great to connect with local business owners in the area to help grow your organic, personal brand in your market. Ladies' night out, those are my favorite ones. If I can go anywhere kid free, sign me up.
Yeah, and obviously, if you're putting on an event, you can write it off as a tax deduction.
Yes, it is a
So
tax deduction.
it's a you going out and having fun and hiring babysitters, and it's actually a tax write off when you do it that way. So
It is. One of my favorite family events that I did was a circus day at the park, and I hired a circus from Orlando to come to our park here. And they set up like minute to win it games. We had like a huge popcorn arch thing. It was so fun. And that was completely free for families to come to. So you can get really, really creative and just create fun for people.
how much did you spend last year out of like your own pocket to put on all the events that you put on?
I probably spent around 8 to 10,000 of my own funds for the events. But keep in
Okay,
mind, I do
that's
one
amazing.
yeah, I do at least one a month. Some months I do more than one.
That's a lot cheaper than what I thought you. I was honestly thinking you'd say, "Hey, I spent $25,000 or I spent $50,000." Because frankly, if you're doing events like this almost every month and you sold 20 million last year, that means your GCI was probably half a million or more.
Hmm.
So even if you spent, let's say, $50,000 last year, that still means you were effectively getting a 10-to-1 ROI if
Yeah.
that's essentially the only marketing that you're doing. So
No,
if you
I'm really, really lucky. I have several vendor partners that sponsor every single one of my events because, it has to be a mutually beneficial relationship when you collaborate with people. I'm not one of those people that's going to feed a lender constantly who never feeds me. Like we got to break bread together. You know what I mean? So I all insurance rep, title company, mortgage lender, all help pay for the events. And then I also get really, really good at collaborating with other business owners. So, for example, the workouts, I collaborated with a local gym to have an instructor there to do the workouts just to help grow her brand awareness so that you're
sure,
not always paying for
sure.
venue spots. The Galentine's, I collaborated with the wine bar, to where it'd be a free venue. And then I do candle making classes, and the candle maker provides all the candle making supplies in collaboration for the marketing. So you can get really, really creative. And when you spin it as a business plan, people will want to help you. Especially, this is something I teach in my coaching program, is to use the words, I need help. So many people don't want to ask for help. But as humans, when we hear I need help, we naturally want to help. So if I'm asking for a vendor partner or asking to collaborate with a business, I need your help to make this event successful. Can you help me? Do you have time to help me? Are you willing to help me right now? Is this a good season for help? Like when you phrase it as needing help all day, every day, people are going to say yes. Humans naturally want to help people. So get
Yeah.
used to asking for help. Say I need help, and it's like a mental roadblock with a lot of people that don't want to ask for help. It's actually a power move. I call it a power phrase.
So what if someone has never put on an event before, what would be your first advice on like what is kind of a lower risk but a lower risk, more guaranteed to work? Hey, if you do this event, it's going to work. What would you advise an agent to do who's like never done this before, but they're convinced after listening to this podcast episode, okay, I've got to try events because clearly it's really working for Kayla. What do you think
Absolutely.
is the perfect first event?
A few takeaways on that question, but one, I would start small with a monthly brunch that you always invite the same exact people to. Everyone pays for themselves, and you maybe sponsor the first glass of mimosa or something, but very, very low ticket cost for you. Your first event is going to be hard to get vendor partners for. You're going to have to show the success for someone to want to
Yep.
give you money every single month to host your events. So
And
I would start there.
honestly, that's a huge conversation that we have regularly with realtors in the plat fam. Is often so many agents and outside the plat fam too, right, are asking, how do I get a lender to pay for stuff? And it's like, well, a lender isn't an ATM machine. They need to see an ROI. And I see this from both sides because I actually don't even know if you know this, Kayla, but I also co-own a mortgage brokerage.
No, I didn't know
And
that.
so we have agents that are hitting us up all the time asking for, hey, can you partner with this and this? And it's like, well, you sold 3.5 million last year and 3 million of that was listings. So how could this be a win-win for us if you're barely working with enough buyers? And the one buyer you did work with last year bought new construction, so they're obviously going with the new build lender. It's like agents have to learn to think, I think sometimes, like
They
this
do.
needs to be, yeah, it needs to be win-win, whether it's insurance, title, mortgage, whatever. If someone's going to throw $1,000 towards your event or $2,000 or whatever, you need to actually be able to look at the napkin math and be like, does the lender, or again, or insurance agent, title company, whatever, are they receiving more than $2,000 of value
Exactly.
from this, or $500 or whatever they're putting in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I 100,000% agree. That's why starting with a monthly brunch, you could track it for 4 months, show success, show conversion, and then show that to a lender or title company, whoever you're going to ask to
Yeah.
partner with you, and show the success and show them how it's working for you and say, I'd love for you to partner with me for the next 6 months for us to do six together.
So on an idea like a monthly brunch, because I love this idea, it's so low key and casual. Like, who are you inviting to that? And when you invite them, what is the 30-second elevator pitch? Are you literally just saying, hey, me and some girls are going to grab brunch together, do you want to come? Are you pitching it at, hey, it's a real estate event for me? Or I mean, like,
No, I would
what
not
is
pitch
the
it Yeah, absolutely. I would not, that's such a good question. I would not pitch it as a real estate event at all. I would not even make it an event on your business page. I would make it an event on your personal page. You're trying to get personal connections with people in the community. And you could either call it like mine was like Biz Girls Brunch because I'm targeting other entrepreneurs in the area for us all to uplift each other. So I wanted other business owners to come to my brunch. If yours is like Mom's Morning Out, if you're targeting a Facebook group, you call it that. You could just make sure whichever area you're going to target. If you're farming a neighborhood, you're going to want it to be there. If you want to digitally farm a Facebook group, make it the Facebook group. If you don't have any area you can target right now, just start on your own page. And when you do a Facebook event, you can make it public to a certain demographic area and you can make it for your city or sub
Right.
cities like Brevard County. We have a ton of cities. You can make it for just Merritt Island here, or what insert whatever your city is, and then everyone in that community is going to see it, and you'll be
Sure.
so surprised at the strangers that choose to come. Now, I would say if you're not too overwhelmed, I would first create the event on Eventbrite and then plug that in as a registration on a Facebook event. And it could be a free ticket on Eventbrite because then you can capture emails and you're going to pull those emails from
Okay.
Eventbrite and add them to your newsletter so that you can start to build a list of people that you invite to all your events.
Okay.
So, just action item for the next 3 months, plan out a morning brunch all 3 months and start there.
Yeah, and like you can just invite you like your friends, even potentially people in your extended family.
Yep.
It's like this brunch. I mean, how would you define success? Are you trying to get 50 people to come? Are you trying to get 5 people to come? What's the goal?
So, just to start, I would honestly do like 20 people or less. You're going to want to try to actually talk to people and get to know people and remember them so you can call them by name at the next one. And when I teach events in my coaching, I recommend having really big events where a bunch of people come and then really small, intimate ones. You need both because when you host a really big event and say 50 to 100 people come, you're like, hi, bye, hi, bye, hi, bye. You're barely
Right.
going to remember who you saw for 5 seconds because you're the host. You're going to constantly be going to talk to everyone. It's really hard to cultivate that connection. So when you start small, and you're going to get really loyal people when you start small, say max 20 people across the next 3 months, and then start to do the bigger events because you're already going to have that subset of people that have come and they support you and they love you and they want to see you win, and they're going to invite more and more and more people to your events as you go, and then you can have a really big one in say 4 months after you start to develop this as a business plan.
Okay. So start small
Start small.
and be aware of the fact that hey, if you do a larger event, that's great, but like
Mm-hmm.
if you have 200 people or 100 people show up, you're obviously not going to be able to connect with all of them at the
Mm-hmm.
event. On like anything more than just a surface, hey, how you doing? So
Yeah.
you want to also have those small events. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
probably that's really good advice because that's probably a missing link in most agents like client appreciation or event strategy where even in the platform, a lot of our agents are crushing doing really creative client appreciation events, but all they do are the bigger ones where they're getting 100 people or 250 people. I don't think we have a ton of people doing the more intimate ones where you maybe get 5 or 10 people or 20 people. So I love that angle of having smaller events where you actually get to know people.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to convert people faster at smaller events than you will at the bigger ones because there's not enough time to have a deeper conversation. And how I was saying before, don't do it on your real estate page, don't make it a real estate event. You want it to come up naturally and organically that you're a realtor. So I wouldn't be in people's face like I'm a realtor. You'd wait, like people are going to ask you, oh, what do you do for work? Then you start to have that conversation. You ask them what they do for
Sure.
work. You have an organic conversation, and that's so much easier when it starts on a small scale. And it's just like that quote where people are like, oh, you're sad because you got only 50 likes on your post when people want like 5,000 likes. But it's like if 50 people were standing in front of you right now, you would be overwhelmed speaking to
Yeah.
them. Anybody would.
Yeah.
Even if you're a keynote speaker, you're going to be overwhelmed because it's actually a lot of people. So 20 people there for someone who isn't used to hosting events yet, that's going to seem like a lot. So I would definitely start there, and you're going to have a really good conversion rate starting small.
that was actually going to be my next question is, hey, you do an event, let's say it's a, ladies weekend brunch, you get 18 people to show up, let's say. It's like, okay, with those 18 people, how do you eventually bring up the topic that you're in real estate, you're a realtor? Like, how does that translate into business? Because at some point, obviously, like, you don't want to have banners and logos and stuff everywhere
No.
where it looks like you're trying to make it a brand event for you. And I think most people would probably intuitively understand not to do that. But at some point, you have to bring it up that you're a realtor. How do you translate, hey, I got 18 ladies to show up to a brunch, or maybe you do a slightly larger event where you rent out a movie theater and you get 100 people to come and it's parents bringing their kids to the recent, whatever the most recent a Disney movie is, whatever. How do you translate these events into actual business, picking up listings and picking up buyers?
Absolutely. So when people first come to an event, it's really hard for people to start talking. As the host, you're going to have to be the conversation starter. And I typically always say, let's go around the room and talk about ourselves, let's get to know each other. And it's naturally going to come up. Hi, I'm Kayla Adamson. I'm a mom of two. I actually was able to retire my husband last year because I'm a full-time realtor and it's going really well. I'm so glad I have a stay-at-home dad now. Like, you see how organically that came up, and people always love to ask realtors questions. So the second you say it in a non-spammy way, someone's going to be like, how's the real estate market? My friend's house has been listed for 6 months and I don't think her realtor's doing a good job. What's your opinion on that? Like, you're going to get just randomness and it's going to naturally flow very, very organically, just like that. But I also really, really love to empower my girls to bring item of use gifts, not your business card. It's not 1920. People don't want a business card anymore. But one of my favorite things is lip gloss. I pass out so much lip gloss with my logo on it. And I actually, about 6 months ago, stopped putting my logo and I've started putting Let's Get Social with my Instagram handle so that people can see me on Instagram, and everyone knows I'm a realtor on Instagram. I'm very big about posting on there and trying to stay relevant and top of mind on there. So you can make really power moves with small, subtle little hints that you're a realtor. Like the movie theater event I had, the popcorn bags had my logo and my Instagram handle on it. So you could get very creative like that.
I think I stopped listening after everything you said there, after you said that you retired your husband, because I just started
Yes.
thinking, I need to give my wife that goal that she needs to reorient her career, that she can retire her husband.
Yes.
That sounds fantastic.
So I do say that now. I will say it started in panic. He was laid off in October of 2023.
Okay.
And at first we were like, oh no, you're laid off? Like, I'm an expensive person. We all know this. So I'm like, what are we going to do without your consistent income? Because I spend money like nobody's business. But it ended up being the biggest blessing in disguise. We reeled it in. I was able to go hardcore full time. And now what, we're in 2025, it's almost been 2 years. He's never going back. It's so much better with him here. He helps me with everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, if you're selling 20 headed to 25 million a year, I would assume that your family's household income has never been higher than it is
Correct.
right now. So that's awesome that worked out. So you've built this incredibly successful business, built, like, really built on this foundation of, like, organically being involved in the community. You haven't run paid Facebook ads, you haven't bought a bunch of Zillow leads or anything like that. Like, you built it just by being active and creating connections in your local community, planning events. I mean, it's almost like you have an event planning business that just happens to make money by real estate commissions. you know
Yes. I
um
actually could be an event planner.
yeah, you're right. I mean, that, because that really, if you're hosting an event basically every month, that more or less is what you're doing. But how you're monetizing it, right, is that you just happen to be a real estate agent. So I know that in the last year you've rolled out a coaching program for real estate agents, and it's called Stay Bossy, right?
Yes. Stay
So
bossy.
how did you think of that name? Who is the coaching program for? Who is your ideal client? And, like, what do you teach in the Stay Bossy program that's maybe different from other coaching programs out there?
Absolutely. I decided, well, first, to answer your first question, where the name came from. I've been called bossy my entire life, even as a child, a teenager, and it was actually a part of my personality that was really shut down for a long time. And of course, getting into being a police officer, I was able to embrace that bossiness a little bit. But after I left law enforcement, I was in a little bit of an identity crisis. When you're in such a like authority position, people have to listen to you. Having that uniform on kind of just demands a different part of authority than just being like a regular person does. You automatically have it. And then I became a realtor where I didn't have that uniform to hide behind anymore. And it's kind of hard to get authority, like to be seen as an authority as a realtor. People are like, everybody's a realtor, and it's kind of like has a negative connotation on it in some areas when you're at events and stuff. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna have to start being my super bossy, obnoxious self again if I want to demand authority in a different way. And I stepped right back into my personality as a realtor, not needing to hide behind a uniform anymore, just it being me. And I've always just loved the word bossy and being bossy, and it just naturally flowed into being the name.
Cool.
And we launched in December 2nd of 2024,
Okay.
sold out within weeks. I only opened doors to 10 people. I learned through my events and making it a business plan that I saw my highest conversion in the more intimate events. The smaller events are my favorite. Of course, I love the bigger ones too. They look amazing on Instagram. They do phenomenal for marketing, but the actual conversion into buyers and sellers happened in the intimate
Sure.
cohorts. So it's like, I want to create a really intimate experience for agents too. I've always been a natural born leader. I knew I wanted to coach other women. I basically already was coaching a bunch of women just for free.
Yeah.
So it's like, I need to change this mentorship and this, let's ask Kayla into a business. And that's what I did. And it's been amazing since then. I started with just the 10 women in a 6-month coaching container. And after a few months, I started getting a ton of requests for one-on-one coaching and decided to take 5 ladies for one-on-one. And right now that's all it is. That's what it is because of time management. But my first round graduates the end of May and doors open again at the end of May for round 2. And it's still going to be small and intimate. I always have a vision for it to be small and intimate because I thrive better in a small and intimate environment. And I saw that through my events. So I wanted to create that for other realtors in a small group coaching container. And we focus on 3 main things: setting boundaries, prioritizing mental health, and conquering hard conversations. Communication is one of my strong suits. I always say to my buyers and sellers that I'm going to answer their questions before they even have an opportunity to ask them. It's a huge selling point in all of my appointments. So I like to teach other agents how to conquer hard conversations, how to handle objections, how to stand in authority and bossiness, even when they're being shut down constantly. Real estate is full of rejection. Not only rejection from buyers and sellers, but rejection from other realtors. When you start selling a bunch, you're going to get some hate. You think you're going to be celebrated? No. People are going to be upset that the new agent on the block is getting traction, and you're going to have to stand firm in your lane. So I really like to teach that. And then, of course, mental health. I'm all about time freedom and having a balance. And throughout my career, I saw a lot of agents struggling with mental health, depression, their marriages falling apart, gaining weight. I know, like, you're a man, but women, they were struggling with their hormones. Their hair was falling out. They were gaining weight because of the stress that real estate brings. And I was like, there's just such a better way. You can have time freedom. You can conquer these hard conversations, and you can have, like, real estate is here, but it doesn't have to consume your whole entire life. It shouldn't be breaking down marriages. It shouldn't be, canceling the family vacation because you have so many deals you don't know what to do. That's not the life that I see for realtors, and I wanted to change that for them. Long story short.
Yeah. Yeah. So what does the coaching program look like? You said it's like a 6 month. Is it a 6 month program?
So there's two options, the 6 month group coaching container, and doors only open twice a year. Once it's full, it's shut. Like I said, I keep it a
Okay.
small, intimate experience. Doors open again middle of May for the second round of 2025. And then I do one-on-one, but right now that's full too. I love my
Okay.
ladies so much. I'm so grateful that we are full. I think I'll open up two more spots in May as well, but I really like get in it with my clients. Like we go from the ground up in their entire business to look at all the holes, kind of like a director of ops, but also a coach. That way they see like real transformation from the ground up. So it's too time consuming for me to take on like 50, 60 people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure, sure. What does the program cost right now? And I know that someone might be listening to this in a year, and it's possible that you've raised your prices then, and that's fine. But what does it cost right now if someone wanted to join, whether it's one on one or the 6 month program?
The 6 month program is 7,500, and then one on one is 14.95 a month.
Okay,
So super easy, same for everybody. Nobody gets special pricing, and it's very cut and dry. There are payment plans for the 6 month group coaching container. The monthly, there's not payment plans, but if you pay it in full for 6 to 12 months, you can get a discount for the bundle.
cool. And I really respect what you're doing. How you kind of cap it like, hey, we're not trying to get hundreds of people in here. It's like realistically because you obviously care about work life balance. It's like I can have 5 one-on-one clients, and I can have 6 people at a time in kind of the coaching cohorts, right? And I respect that you're not trying to, hey, let's get 50 people in here, 100 people, because there's some power in having a more focused small group of people that you're coaching, and even if the demand is greater than that, where more people are willing to sign up, then technically you have room for it. You just say no,
Yep.
hey, you'll have to sign up later. I mean, that's frankly what we do. That's what we do a platform where we work with one agent per market, and we have people all the time that obviously want to join the program, but they can't because we have a client there. And I mean, it's just I think it's a more natural way of doing business than automatically thinking that bigger is always better.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always said that bigger is not always better. It can be for some, it can be for some, but for me personally, I wanted to create something a little different, a little more intimate, and just small group, small scale, and very similar to platform where you guys have a wait list. Stay Bossy Agents has a wait list. And although people are waiting for it, it excites me that people see the value in the small container and they're willing to wait and be on a wait list for when doors open, because it just cultivates a community, even if it's a small one.
All right, so obviously people should follow you on social if they want to, stay in touch with you. And your name is Kayla Adamson.
Mhm.
What is the website for Stay Bossy Agents?
It's staybossyagents.com.
Oh,
Super,
well, there
super
you go.
easy. Yeah, staybossyagents.com. You can follow me on Instagram at the Kayla Adamson. And I also wanted to announce the book. I wrote a book.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yes. Stay Bossy Agents for Women in Real Estate. It is all about boundaries, conquering hard conversations, and prioritizing mental health. And it goes live on Amazon May 2nd. It
all
will
right,
be
okay,
the
that's cool.
lowest price it will ever be for only 24 hours. So you guys have to get your hands on this book.
Congratulations. I don't even know if I knew that you were writing a book. Congratulations.
Oh, really? Yes. Thank you so much.
So how long have you been working on that?
Um, about 8 months.
Yeah, okay, because I was gonna say I've written several books myself, and I know that that is a long process.
It is a long process, but I'm so excited. And have you ever heard of Modern Agent Social Club?
I don't think so. No,
Really?
no, I
So
don't
the
think so.
owner of Modern Agent, Chelsea, she has written the foreword for the book. She's the real deal. I'm going to send you her profile. You have to check it out. She
What
wrote
is
the
her last
foreword for
name?
the book. Um,
Does she do Facebook ads or social ads for realtors?
no, she doesn't. So Modern
No.
Agent
Okay.
Social Club is Peterson, Chelsea Peterson. It's kind of
Okay.
similar to Coffee and Contracts, but a little bit different. They teach social media strategy and then gives like a bank of post ideas, caption ideas, templates to just build
Okay.
your personal brand online.
Okay. Very cool. Well, I honestly had no idea you were writing a book. That's amazing. That makes this podcast episode, even more timely that you have that coming out. So,
Thank you so
um,
much.
is there a section of the book or an idea in the book that you've shared that you maybe haven't promoted heavily elsewhere where like, hey, I put this in the book, but I actually haven't really talked about this elsewhere?
Yes, there is. I have developed a signature method. It's called the close method. It is copyrighted, but the
Okay.
close method is a method that any agent can use to close any conversation that they're having. If it's with a seller, if it's with a buyer, if it's with a buyer's dad at an inspection, whatever the conversation is,
Right.
this is a method that can easily be learned with repetition and practice. I always say practice, practice, practice. But once you implement the close method in your business, you're going to be winning listing appointments left and right. You're going to be conquering hard conversations of price objections, asking for a price reduction. You could even use the close method on your husband. Sorry, Tim. It could be used in any conversation that you're having. So I'm really, really excited about that. It's in the book and it's just going to be fantastic. I'm so excited.
Who are some realtors that you look up to? Like, do you have a coach or other agents that you mastermind with, or like, is there areas where you draw inspiration?
There's so many. Of course, Kara Newton, that's her maiden name, but everyone knows her as that, the Pink Queen. I look up to her so much. She's been such a strong mentor in my life. So, Kara, of course. Taylor Hunt, have you heard of her?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Phenomenal. Like phenomenal, especially for her age. She is probably one of the best leaders I've ever met in my entire life. She leads a team, but for her age, how she leads it, like she is wise beyond her years. She should be a guest on here. You would love her. So wise beyond her
And she's
years.
in she's in South Carolina. Is that right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're trying to get her to sign up for platforms. You should put in a good word for us to get Taylor into platform.
I will talk to her. I'm surprised she hasn't if her market is open. But she's a powerhouse, like over 100
Yeah.
houses a year.
Yeah.
So that would be fantastic. I'll talk to her. So Taylor Hunt, Kara, Lindsay Fritz. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of her, but she owns Legacy Agents, which is a
Yep.
fantastic program. And then last but definitely not least, I have to say the Girls with Grit. Jamie, Tara, and Lauren, they are fantastic. They have cultivated an amazing community of realtors. And if you guys need some agents to look up to, right there, follow all of them I just named, and you're going to get an idea to post on your social media every single day. And then, of course, me.
Cool. Well, thank you for that because I'm always curious, like, what agents or what source of inspiration that really successful people are following because having whether you call them mentors or just people you look up to, whatever. um everyone has people they look up to, whether they're selling 1 million, 2 million, 4 million. But I always find it an interesting question to ask, hey, if someone's already selling 20 or 25 million, like, who do you look up to, right? And so that's a really cool answer to kind of hear who you're following. Because obviously there's tons of agents that look up to you and pay you for your advice and your coaching, um and you've now become one of those names yourself. I bet if I asked a bunch of other people, they'd probably name Kayla Adamson. So
Thank you.
Kayla, this has been great. Let me ask one more question as we wrap this up. If you could go back looking at the last 10 years of growing your business, like knowing what you know now, you've started this Stay Bossy coaching program, you've written a book, you speak at events yourself. Is there anything you have learned where if you could go back in time that you would do differently to grow your business faster or hit your goals faster? Like, what would you have done differently?
If I could go back, I would 100% from the beginning only work with the clients that aligned with my communication style and my leadership style. When I first started, I would work with people that didn't listen to me at all. They would want to list their house for whatever they wanted to list at, didn't really listen to my recommendation, and it was a struggle. Now, for seven years now, if I already am getting that at an appointment where this person's not getting it, they're not listening to anything, I will not take the listing. I will not take the buyer. I have told people we're not a good fit and have moved on. So I would say be really confident in you and your ability. And sometimes it is not a good thing to work with everyone. You have to be selective and use discernment, because part of prioritizing your mental health is not allowing those people in your inner circle that are triggers, if that makes sense. So I would definitely
Sure.
say that. And then I would say not to make permanent decisions in an emotional state, because I've done that a few times. And then, especially as women, we can get emotional fast. We can. And we can make some really, really quick decisions when we're in an emotional state, when we should have taken a few days to think about it, rest on it, and then make a decision. So those are my two biggest pieces.
That's me watching a Minnesota Vikings game.
Yeah.
Is I'm in a completely emotionally compromised state.
Yes.
Um, my wife actually makes me watch them in the garage now because I get so pissed that. So we had to put a whole man cave and big screen TV in the garage because I can't control my emotions when I'm watching that team. It's
Oh
just
my
my
gosh, that's so funny.
that's my weakness. Well, Kayla, thank you. This has been great. I live in Florida and you live in Florida, so I know
I
we're on
didn't know you
opposite
lived in
ends,
Florida.
but yeah, I'm actually in Naples. So,
I didn't know
I'll,
that.
yeah, it's, it's pretty far away from where you are, but at some point we'll have to connect for lunch or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, this was great. Thank you for your time, and people will know if they want to find out more
Yeah.
about the world of Kayla Adamson, go to
.com.
staybossyagents.com.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much. Have a great day.